February 7 today, starting off the day with just some stretching. This is probably within 30 minutes of me waking up. Just loosening up the shoulders. Shoulders were quite tight and sore, I think, even just from sort of doing some of those overhead presses the other day. Like I've said, my shoulders are pretty tight normally anyway, from many years of playing cricket as a young whippersnapper. So this is just sort of warming up the back, warming up the shoulder joint itself, the rear delts. Just getting a good stretch. Just you sort of feel all that stiffness sort of break away after I do this band stretch a few times in the morning. I'm planning to do chest because I looked at my chest the other day and I went, geez, feel like I'm missing out. I know I'm doing a lot of bench, but I'm probably not doing everything else that I normally do, all the cable flies, different variations of dumbbell presses and things like that. So I hit it a few days earlier. I think I was going to hit it again today, but first I needed to sort of work out the kinks and the tightness in my shoulders so that I'm not engaging my shoulders too much and doing chest. So yeah, look, it's just a bit of seated press variation, working the upper chest to start off with, warming up with sort of 40 kilos and then 60 kilos for 3 sets of 10 to 12. And then after that we went on to some dumbbell press, so flat and then incline. I just filmed the 1 sec. Again, there was a few people around and a couple of them were a bit self-conscious that I was filming and they didn't want to be in, and they asked me to just not film when they were around, which is perfectly fine. It's it's a public gym. I don't mind at all turning off my camera. So I did some dumbbell press, flat and incline, and worked my way up to 20 kilos there. So the footage you'll see, I started with 15 kilos and I did another set of 10 with 17 kilos, and then I finished with a set of 10 on 20 kilos. This is doing flat and incline. So 3 sets of 10 with each flat and incline, and then after that we just did some cable flies with some tricep extensions just to break up the cable flies, and then that was it. Then I had a sauna, had a beautiful 45-minute sauna, had a good sweat out as my recovery straight after the gym. So I drove to the place that I did the sauna after the gym, and it was a solid workout. I got a good pump in, I got a good stretch of my chest and my pecs. And just putting in some of this maintenance work that will probably ultimately help my bench press, while sort of utilising, especially doing the dumbbell presses, while sort of utilising those accessory muscles to stabilise my press and things like that. Which obviously when you're just using a barbell, you're sort of locked into that one range of motion, whereas when you have dumbbells you sort of have room to feel the dumbbell move side to side, and you're sort of using your shoulder, your rotator cuff, different parts of your chest to control the dumbbell and to keep it in the range of motion you want it in. So just sort of adding to the health of those accessory muscles a little bit that miss out when I'm doing bench. And then you can see I do some incline as well. Just to work that upper chest again. I've noticed that's probably quite weak. When I was doing incline bench press the other day, I was only doing 40 kilos for reps, and with my flat bench I'll go up to sort of 70 kilos for 5 reps now. So I'm sort of trying to catch up a little bit in that deficit that I've created for myself. And yeah, look, I was probably, I think, my theme for the day of what I was thinking, especially that in the sauna, was what it sort of takes to be free. And you can interpret that any way you sort of want. You can be financially free of not having to work or doing what you love, free of responsibility or free of stress, free of relationships, or free speech. I think there's a lot of things going on at the moment where people get cancelled for opinions or going and talking about narratives that aren't widely accepted, which it's an interesting subject for me. It's one that I don't necessarily agree with. I think that when you are looking in the context of free speech and good and bad ideas and what you determine is a good idea versus a bad idea, and how some, whether it be news outlets or podcast, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or things like that, or even YouTube, how they can sort of censor that and block people from looking at conversations or ideas that maybe these companies don't agree with or these media outlets don't agree with. I think it's it's a dangerous thing, and I think it's a slippery slope, and that's where I sort of get a little bit worried about, the certain freedoms we enjoy, especially in this country, in Australia. We enjoy quite a lot of freedoms, and I think a lot of lockdowns during the pandemic has sort of shown to me, and probably a lot of other people as well, how those freedoms can go away quite quickly, and how they can be erased quite quickly. So when I'm looking at all these media outlets that are censoring things, and I think Spotify, with a couple of their big podcasters, they removed some episodes over some misinformation, supposed misinformation about the pandemic. I don't think that's right. I think the only way to combat so-called bad ideas or unpopular ideas is with good ideas and better ideas. I think that silencing people just pushes them to the fringes and makes them scream louder, and probably, converts people to more radical kinds of thinking and things like that. Whereas I think if you can sit down and have civil discussions and, very well backed up arguments and informed arguments, with people that have differing views and differing opinions, then I think that lets other people, or viewers or anyone who's interested, adults can form their own ideas. What you want to see and what you should be seeing is strong, healthy debate and discussion of ideas from varying topics and from varying point of views. And I think as an adult and as a person watching these and listening to these ideas, we should then be able to make our own mind up based on who, brought forth those better ideas during the discussion, or the ones we agree with, and then deciding what we agree and we don't agree with. I don't like being told by some of these outlets what's a good idea, what's a bad idea, and what misinformation is, and what's the right kind of information, what's accurate, because I think time and time again we've seen that people can be wrong. News outlets are wrong, people that do podcasts are wrong, but yeah, it never gets retracted, and it never gets highlighted that an article from a few months ago was fact checked to be wrong. Even during the pandemic, if you look at things about masks and vaccines and, whatever your stances are, I don't care what your stance is, but, a lot of measures that have come out since have been proven to be wrong, and I don't think silencing people for having ideas that vary from the norm is one. I don't think it's unsafe to entertain ideas like this, and I think it promotes healthy discussion on improving our situation as as a species, as human beings, and our experiences through life and things like that. I think once you start to censor things and decide what people can and can't listen to, I think that is a very slippery slope, and I think that's when a lot of freedom, I think in general, not just freedom of speech but even freedom of thought, because you're now being shown what to think, or ideas to think. I think that has the potential to be erased quite quickly. And then what's next? Freedom to live, freedom to go outside, and things like that. So that was something that was on my mind today, and I was just sort of thinking about during my 45-minute session in the sauna, and just look how to maintain these things, and how to probably for myself get more freedom away from things like how hypothetically would I be able to do a job that I love and buy a house on some acreage that I love, where I could have a gym set up in a shed as a home gym, and I can be sort of by myself, but still close enough to society and connecting with people and things like that, but have my own sort of autonomy where I'm not told what to do, or I don't have to go to work at a certain amount of days a week to make a living. That keeps me comfortable. How can I do what I want to do and still live within my means, and be able to think and speak freely, about what I believe and what my ideas are on topics, um, without sort of being censored or controlled in a sense. And that was my thought process during the sauna today. It was an interesting one, and I listened to a couple podcasts on it as well, and a little bit of evolutionary psychology, which made it quite interesting. But I think I'll leave it there for the day. It's a bit of a deep, long topic, and I don't think I can cover it in 10 minutes anyway. It's a good workout today, fantastic sauna, a fantastic sweat, and yes, definitely good times for thinking in the sauna. Good to distract yourself from when it's 70 degrees in there and you still have 10 minutes left to go and you're absolutely dying. So thank you. I will see you in the next one, and I'll put a little clip in from my sauna session today. Cheers. There's a lot of benefits to sauna. It's fantastic. It'll be good. It's a 45-minute session. And I'm going to try and get it as close as I can to 70 degrees. So usually the last 10 to 15 minutes will be a tough sweat. But I found it's excellent recovery for this sort of train every day program that I'm doing. Definitely mixing in after workout. So I did that gym workout, I did the chest workout beforehand, and now I'm going to do 45 minutes in the sauna just to allow those sort of heat shock proteins to come and let everything vasodilate, let them all flow through all the worked muscle and all the muscle that needs repairing, and get rid of any sort of lingering inflammation or any stiffness in and around my joints as well. Particularly sort of my elbows after bench press the other day. I think both elbows have been a little bit sore. But apart from that, it's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it. And thank you very much.